Hey everybody, welcome to the Button Mappers podcast, the official podcast of the Button Mappers. I was actually just talking to Spencer off camera. We're actually going to be abbreviating the show to the Butt Pod. That's official. Uh, so welcome to the Butt Pod.
Yeah, we always put out really good content, and fart noises. I don't know where you were going with that.
Do you think our show would be more popular if we just inserted a little fart noise every once in a while?
I think so.
Like a little squeak.
What's going?
Yeah.
Mixture of squeaks and then like harder ones, like low rumbles. And,
yeah.
yeah.
Welcome everybody. Today we are doing the Button Mappers podcast, which we do once a month. I was like having a decent day today. As in, like, I just came. I'm coming in on this episode on kind of a low, man. Spencer knows. My fucking computer that I use for literally everything is not functioning. So,
Yeah.
like, I was like, like all day I was like, you know what? Today I get to like podcast with Spencer. I'm so excited, you know. And it's like, yeah, you know, we get to say we have all these great topics and stuff. And then like I was gonna set up and nothing. My fucking computer. Huh? What?
Huh?
So
Huh?
it's like
What?
now I'm like starting. So now I'm like fresh off of that fucking thing. And then now I have to deal with that on top of the fact that like I'm thinking about like I'm like, hey everybody, I am here to entertain you. And now I'm thinking about the fact that like I'm like, oh my god, I can't like edit turbos of videos or like work on this or get this done. And it's like, god damn, I gotta like, call the repair shop. I'm sorry, Spencer.
Ah! I don't know. That sucks. Yeah.
Life's hard. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is the podcast that we do on the channel where we cover a few different segments. And today we have some good segments lined up for you. We're going to be talking about current state of Xbox and their incompetencies. Oopsies. We're going to be talking about the game that is known as Metal Gear Solid 2, because last episode we talked about Metal Gear Solid. That's an ongoing theme throughout these episodes right now. And then the end of the episode, we are going to talk about why we haven't switched over to the Switch 2 yet. Like, what's going on there? You know, we haven't really talked about our thoughts on the channel that much. So that's what we got lined up today. Let us know in the comments if you like this episode, what you want to see us talk about on future episodes. If you think Spencer's cute, let him know.
You do.
Let him know.
So put it in the comments.
Because Spencer, I think maybe there's less people than you think that think you're cute.
No, I think there might be more.
More people than you think like everyone thinks you're cute.
I think let's not rule out everyone, but at least let's say 99.99999.
Who's the one person? Me?
%. Wow.
Am
Wow.
am I that one fucking asshole? Am I the one doctor that doesn't approve?
Yeah, you're the one out of 10.
Ads?
Yeah.
It's always like it's like 9 out of 10 doctors approved. I was like the one fucking doctor that's like, no.
No. I don't like it.
You shouldn't be using toothpaste to brush your teeth. You should be using sludge or something. You know, it's always like, it's like, well, guy, you know, he's always on the panel. He's got to deal with them.
Should we talk about about Xbox now? Or?
Yeah, let's talk about Xbox.
Okay, we got a cool sound effects. So,
was it a lightsaber?
Kinda, I guess. It's whatever you want it to be. Xbox.
You gotta make you have to make like an Xbox sound.
Jesus Christ! You know we cut these into sections. So you can't be doing non sequiturs while we do this transition. They're never gonna watch the video.
God damn it! Sorry.
Jesus. Okay, well we can always, and then now we start. Boy, Xbox! Holy shit! Oh, no, we can't even start with a
Oh
swear.
my god.
We can't start with a swear because YouTube doesn't like it when you start with a swear.
Okay.
Boy,
Okay.
Xbox!
Now.
Holy wonder! holy Xbox!
Okay. Okay. We're officially starting the Xbox segment now. Spencer, did you hear about Xbox?
Yeah, I
They're
sure did.
drowning. Yeah. Yeah. So we typically don't talk about like current events on this channel really rarely, but this one I kind of felt like we maybe needed to talk about because it's such like a Xbox is in such a state of like disarray. I feel like right now that it's almost questioning like what are they fucking doing over there? Like what's their plan? What's their goal?
Yeah.
You know? Um
Well, when you say they're in
so
trouble, can you outline what makes them in trouble?
absolutely. So we recently we had a big update from Microsoft. Big exciting news, which means that like 9,000 people lost their jobs because they closed down a few studios, canceled a few projects, and those projects. I'll go from like I guess least notable to most notable. There's four of them, but one of them is. And one of them's escaping my memory, so maybe Spencer can help me out here. One of them was like a Elder Scrolls MMO, or like a or some kind of Bethesda MMO or something
Okay.
that got canceled. It might be just a I no, I think it was just a generic Bethesda MMO that was like Space Theme or something. Got canceled. That's whatever. I don't remember what the other one was that was less notable, but the two most notable ones are two games that have been like trapped in like development hell for a while have been um dropped and the teams have been disbanded on those. The smaller one, I guess, quote unquote smaller one, is Everwild, which is Rare's game they've been working on for a while.
Hmm.
Rare's still around, but like I think they're like, yeah, get back into the CFD's minds, you know, like stay in there, you can't come out. So they're back. They're not making their game anymore, which is
Yeah.
sad because I know a lot of people worked on that and stuff, and I don't know, look neat. But the big one is that the Initiative, a studio that Xbox created and fully funded and poached it, like produces stuff from other companies like Insomniac and Crystal Dynamics.
Hmm.
They opened this studio specifically for the reason to reinvent and like reboot the Perfect Dark, which is like was an exciting idea. The and also the idea of Xbox like having studios that are solely like dedicated to one IP, I think is not a bad idea. Like they've granted say what you want, but you know they have 343. They have which I think they even changed their name now to something else like the fucking Halo guys or something. And then they have like the Coalition, which is Gears, and then I think they even have like Flight Team that is like the Flight Studio stuff. Um, they have teams like
So
dedicated to certain games.
so it's a terrible idea.
That's a terrible idea. But still, it's like I get the idea behind it, but yeah, so like yeah, all those games were canceled and all those teams were kind of broken up, and the biggest one was the Initiative because they just straight up got shut down before their first game even launched.
Mm-hmm.
Which is uh, and there's a few ways there's I think a few ways to look at this. For one, it's like oh, big mean evil game corporation cancels projects, right? I think that's how a lot of the outlets look at this.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's the correct way to look at it, but I think the correct way to look at it is like there's a level of incompetency at Microsoft right now that is insane for like a huge like hardware software developer like that. This company that like buys a lot of studios and they like have a lot of things under their belt and they constantly brag about it. They make these big purchases and then they turn around and like there hasn't been much of note to come out of Xbox because like they're not well managed. And what's even funnier is that like the day after all this was released, Phil Spencer was like, "No, we're doing great,"
Yeah.
and it was like, what are you talking about? Are you all right? Are you okay?" It's like,
Well, yeah. There's a lot of ways to look at this. I don't know if I would use the word incompetent because I think they followed through on their mission plan pretty closely, and I hesitate to use the word successfully because they're closing a lot of things, but I think there's an expression in finance that I'm about to butcher, but I'm going to get as close to that I can to it. Is when the tide comes out, you see who's swimming naked, is the old expression. And I think there's a couple things that Microsoft has done that's been their highlight that people have praised them for. And that's what makes this so strange is people have praised them for it. And now I think we're seeing what happens when you do those practices. And it's like destroyed them financially. And the two things I'm going to talk about are Game Pass. And the second one is not is I get how do I word this? Not keeping your games to yourself. So when people think about PlayStation, they think about their high priority first party titles. And they're not necessarily companies that they own, but certainly companies that they hold like large stakes in. I guess you call it second party, or maybe some of them are first party. I don't really know the logistics and don't care. But they have a company like Naughty Dog. Those games come out on PlayStation. They do not come out on Xbox. You have companies like you said, Insomniac, who I think used to be close to PlayStation. I don't remember. But anyway, a lot of companies like that are making exclusively PlayStation games. Well, Microsoft has made it a point to say, no, we release our stuff on all consoles. And everyone said, yay! Yay! Thank you, Microsoft. You're such a great company. Now I can play it on my PlayStation instead of paying for your service. And everyone was like, yay, Microsoft. Well, you know, there's one problem of you buy all these companies and say, yay, we got these companies, and then you let them make them for PlayStation. I would like to see the numbers that show if people are spending them elsewhere or what the profit is. Because obviously there's a profit that they can make from those PlayStation sales. But what about the idea that they're not spending money on the Xbox platform? Like there's got to be some drawback there. And I would like to see the numbers on that. They'll never show it, but I'd like to see them. I'll let you go.
well, when I use the term incompetence, like yeah, I'm sure that does play a factor into it, but I think the bigger issue here that if we look back at like Xbox exclusives as of late, Xbox has a pretty hands off approach when it comes to their developers,
Mm-hmm.
and usually that's like a good thing, but I don't think it is, and I think that's why we're seeing a lot of this happen now. Is because like they've sunk so much money into into the initiative with Perfect Dark. They sunk so much money into Everwilds, which has been in production since like 2014 or some shit. Like they were hands off with Redfall. That didn't work out for them. They were hands off with the other. What was the Bethesda one? The
Space
game.
one. Yeah, who knows? It's terrible.
Yeah, space game. The fuck is that game called? It's so unmemorable. I don't even remember the name.
Yeah,
Star Sky or something. That it's like I don't know, but that didn't get the best reception. Like it seems like Xbox's approach is like buy stuff, own stuff, let them make games, which isn't. That's like in like a perfect world, right? That's like the perfect system. It's like, oh my god, a big publisher just lets us make games.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're seeing is that whenever you have that much freedom and you're not actually like stepping in like a Nintendo or like a Sony would do and say like, hey, we need this game done by time, or hey, you need to reel things in. Like you're starting to see the pieces of that fall apart. Where I think they're just like for them from like a business mindset, it's like it's easier to trim the fat than to actually see these games come to light. It's like we're spending so much money making Perfect Dark. Like we might be more efficient if we just cut them loose, right? That's kind of the mindset.
Well, and then it leads to my other part that I mentioned at the beginning was The other thing is Game Pass. So they're all these games that they're releasing. A lot of people are not actually buying them. They're paying for Game Pass, and that's me included. They're paying for Game Pass, and they're just playing the game. And theoretically, I mean, if you do the math, it's what, like 3 games in a year? Is it somewhere? It's got to be something close to that. 3 games per year
Yeah.
that it costs. So if they release 50 games, I really only paid for 3 of them if I subscribe the entire year. That's if I subscribe the entire year. And a lot of people will, and I know people that just subscribe when a game comes out that they care about. And then they usually pool them and then wait until for like a month or two. They subscribe, play the shit out of those games, and then they dip out. Like, because like, who cares? So it'd be an interesting financial peak to see how many people are doing that and how Game Pass is profitable, which I've heard that it's not. And usually within like a couple years, if you're whatever you're doing isn't I understand startup years have startup costs, so whatever. But if you're not profitable within a couple years, most businesses go bankrupt. Now this is a part of a business, so I understand that wouldn't happen. But you would think that would be a big problem. And thinking about it from both ends, so if nobody's buying your games first party, they're all using Game Pass, and then you also sell them to other companies, PlayStation. You also let those companies sell them. You're not getting the full cut from that. So where is the money coming from that they're supposed to be getting from gaming?
Yeah.
It's like I just don't see it. And again, everyone was excited that they did it, and it is, you know, very pro consumer. So I think they deserve some credit for that. But you're kind of seeing why people never did that in the past. And you know, like if you think about PS2 versus Xbox, those were console wars, and you know, gamers nowadays are like, "Oh, I hate the console wars because it was so annoying and so stressful." And yeah, it sucks that you have to buy one console to play certain games, but you're seeing why that is. It's how you make money. So I'd be curious to see the financials on that.
Well, not only that, but I think it's like I think they're sort of stuck in Game Pass. They're like, it's a very precarious situation for them. Obviously, if they're losing money, the easiest solution would be to just cut it. But the problem is that Game Pass came from a place of goodwill almost, where they were losing, they were down so far with the Xbox One, right?
Yeah.
Where they were just like, oh my God, what do we do? And so Game Pass was like their saving grace. They were like, we created this thing called Game Pass. You can come over and play our games because nobody's buying them anyway. Like, nobody had an Xbox One. So it's like, you can come on over, play fucking State of Decay or whatever the hell you want to play, and there you go. And that was sort of like how it was like advertised and like how it was pushed, and people were like, I bought, like, I know I've heard people like towards the end of that generation be like, I bought an Xbox One S just to play Game Pass, or, you know, and that was like a win for them, right? They were like, they were getting console sales out of that. But now it's gone on so long, yeah, it's like the inverse effect, where it's like we made all these promises during that generation, a Game Pass, we could unlimited library, come on over to our console, and now they're, yeah, now they have to be losing money, hardcore, on it. And
Yeah, and this might be a little bit of a stretch, but I know that a lot of those big tech companies invested a lot in AI, and they're struggling to see the gains from it, the return on the investment. I wonder if some of that is also bleeding into this division, and they're like, well, I know it's not really a video game thing, but still, Microsoft as a whole is probably like, we really need to offset the cost of this AI thing that is not working.
well,
So it could be part of
they
it
did.
too.
I think a few months ago they did show off some sort of like AI thing for games that was like, I forget what it did, like upscale or something. I forget what it
Mm,
was, but it was something stupid. It was something really dumb looking, because they like showed like side by side photos to like investors, and
yeah.
it like leaked to the public, and like everyone was like, like, this is what you're putting your money into. It doesn't look that good. You know? And it was
Yeah,
just
if you
like,
could get that to work,
that's
that would be crazy good. But maybe they haven't done that right. Because think about like a remaster. If a remaster's only like making a game look better, you could literally just scale it with AI and then sell it as a remaster, and then it would be, assuming it does it right, like That'd be very profitable, I would think.
Yeah.
But maybe they just didn't execute that very well.
I I like looked more into like what was happening at the initiative, and in particular because like Rare's a lost cause, and I don't give a fuck about Bethesda, but the initiative's the interesting one. They got shut down because they were pushing. I mean, they've been pushing Perfect Dark as far as like recently and like showcases and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, so what happened there? And like apparently like people were coming and going like crazy. So I don't like there had to have been some issues at that studio as well. That again, if to me feels like maybe that was also like people like Xbox not stepping in and like taking taking the initiative to like get their game back on track because like I know one of the heads from Crystal Dynamics came in and then left, and then one of the guys from Insomniac came in and then left, and then like a bunch of other people came in and then left, and then it was like at that rate, like yeah, a game's not gonna come together. Like
I
uh,
I think initiative and by a byproduct of that Rare is going to be a very fascinating story in the not so distant future. Because if you think about it, Microsoft bought a Nintendo. They used to be a Nintendo, basically a Nintendo company. They bought them probably at their peak, probably not quite at their peak. I think they were working on that Star Fox game that was no good.
they just put out that Star Fox.
Oh, they just put it out. Okay. So not quite at their peak, but basically, like a lot of people think
Basically.
N64 Rare is about as good as it gets. Like you got Banjo, you got Donkey Kong, you got Conquer, you got Perfect Dark, you got GoldenEye. Like it doesn't really get much bigger than that. As far, like Nintendo practically used them as a first party company. Like those are basically mascots of Nintendo for that era. They took that company, gutted it over the course of a decade to the point that it's useless. They released a Perfect Dark, globally panned as just being awful. In the future, decided to bring Perfect Dark back. They have the company that made it, but they know that they destroyed that company so bad that they have to create a brand new company and poach talent to get it. Then cancel that game and destroy the company that they made. The amount of money that they wasted and the amount of talent that they've like just destroyed is absurd. It's astronomical.
And like I kind of get what they're going with it because this has worked for them in the past. He's worked loosely, worked in quotations, with Killer Instinct. That's basically what they did with Killer Instinct for when the Xbox One came out. They basically had a brand new studio come in and make a new version of that game, and that's a Rare game, you know. So like I get what they were going for. Like oh, if we can't trust these guys anymore, so let's just build another team because like it's smart because like if you're going for like legacy outside of Gears and Halo and I guess Fable, which they're still doing, I guess. Like, there's not really much there for Xbox, right? That's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'll start pulling from the Rare library. But yeah, I don't think they definitely handled it the wrong way. I think the smartest thing would have been just to bring in like a pre-established developer for like bring in Crystal Dynamics. I don't care, and be like, hey, can you make Perfect Dark you know, or something?
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think is in the future? Like, do you see a silver lining? Do you see what do you see for it going forward?
It's muddy. I mean, they own like as much as like the media and us and whoever else are gonna like slam them for what's happening right now. Fox's argument is always like we're the biggest game publisher and we own like all these games and all these studios, right? Like that's sort of their thing.
Yeah.
I, I see them going the way of publisher. Honestly, I mean they're already going multi-platform. I don't Xbox. The Xbox console is gonna die definitely. I see that happening. I don't know. I mean I know where there's talks of like them working on the next like Xbox, but I don't see it going up like past another generation or so maybe
Hmm.
because it's gonna just become like Game Pass, right? Like that's their thing. That's their service,
Like
I
a
guess.
Steam, like just
Yeah,
a model instead of like a console.
Yeah, I mean, and we're sort of already seeing that they're doing like that ROG Ally thing, right? ROG, yeah, because I think you can like access your Xbox library on there. But like
Hmm.
we're already sort of
Like
seeing it
Logitech has
happen,
it, yeah.
and yeah, so yeah, it's gonna be a shift for sure. But I think like days of the Xbox are gonna be in the past. Like I say, give it 10 years,
Hmm.
and no one's gonna be buying an Xbox. They'll be subscribing to Xbox, or something. Or
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't see any games on the horizon. I mean, obviously there's an Elder Scrolls 6 that apparently is going to come out sometime. So if that should
yeah,
ever happen, that would be
because like
good.
dude, they announced Gears of War 6, which is Gears of War E Day, like almost 2 years ago now, and we've seen nothing. We've seen none of that game.
Gears is dead. It's honestly it's not even like a thing. It's like
Oh no, it's on PS5. Coming to PS5, I think next month,
yeah,
this month,
it's
sometime. It's coming.
but the Gears series like just that series is dead. Halo's dead.
Yeah.
Fable, I don't
Fable.
Jesus. I really
Fable.
horrible. Just
Fable.
that series is horrible and that game looks horrible. I am curious to play it on Game Pass. And I'm certainly not buying it, but
Come
I
on,
would
no.
try it on Game Pass. But no, that looks horrible. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't see much of a future there, but I'd love to see them succeed somehow.
What do you think could save them? What do you think could save the Xbox?
It sounds cynical, but a move to a free to play model with microtransactions.
Everyone's favorite.
Yeah.
Gotta
Well,
love
they
gotta
gotta
love those.
they've got to get to they got to get the Fortnite crowd. If you can do that,
Haven't they technically tried it with Halo, right?
yeah,
Like
they got to
Halo's
do
free to
better.
play.
They got to do better.
I'm just saying I guess they've sort of tried that. They
Yeah.
started to get tried the other way. Um, I'm gonna say the only way that you're gonna get people to actually buy an Xbox is to actually make exclusive games, and also make exclusive games people want to play. 'Cause that's the other thing too. Is that like they're like, well, we have exclusive games, and it's like garbage. It's
So
like, no, you don't.
there's a problem with that. And I agree that that would help, but here's the problem. It's kind of like the Game Pass thing is they've created this.
Yeah,
Like they're the ones that bragged about how their games are releasing on other consoles. It's kind of like, do you remember when they did the DRM stuff
yeah.
at the beginning of Xbox One? Like it was like their early thing for that.
That went,
That bad press literally cost them a console generation. And the amount of bad press they get, they're like, yeah, we're no longer gonna do that.
that bad press cost them a fucking president or whatever it was.
Yes.
Don Matrick. Yeah, they booted his ass out of there. They're like, bye.
Yeah, that kind of press will crush you. And like
Yeah,
I agree that's what they need to do, but how they maneuver around doing that is I don't know.
yeah. I don't know either, man. Because like, and like, it's again, they created it, and like, I remember as soon as like they announced like, remember they had that thing where they were like 4 games are coming to different consoles, and it was like Sea of Thieves, Grounded, Ori, and something else. I don't remember what it was, but it was just like whatever games. But everyone's like, holy shit, Halo's Master Collection's coming to PlayStation. Like they already sort of started that. It's like now it's like a dialogue where it's like, we want Halo. We want, it's like,
Like,
so
no,
like I'm sitting here
we can't
thinking
give you
like,
that.
yeah,
We can't
exactly.
afford to
I'm,
give you
I,
that game.
I'm sitting here thinking like, what could they create that could be exclusive? But I'm like, yeah, but then if like anything like my first thought is like, like pander to nostalgia, have a new either have a team that's pre-established. Please God, don't make another studio for this. Come in and make like a Banjo Kazooie, right? That's a beloved game. You own it. I don't understand why you don't do anything with that. Like, but even then, it's like if you make it exclusive to Xbox, the people will be like, "Bring it to Switch. What are you doing?"
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know.
Shouldn't this
You
be
know?
on Nintendo? It was a Nintendo property
Yeah,
first.
he's on the Smash Bros, so he should probably
Mhm.
be on the Switch. Yeah, it's gonna be the same thing. Yeah, so it's gonna be like, well, I'll just wait for it to come to PlayStation or whatever. It's always gonna be that now.
Yeah.
It's always gonna be like, well, actually, Forza Horizon 6 looks cool, but I'm just gonna wait for it to come to PS5. So or
Do
come to Steam
not
or
do
whatever.
not listen to fans. Never. Never listen to your fans. That should just be the
Always ignore
mantra.
them.
That should be the mantra in everything. It's like you always if you ever listen to fans, they're insane. The things that they want. You need to understand the fans at a certain level, but then give them what you want to give them.
Yeah.
Never listen to fans.
No, you just gotta throw them a little crumb. That's all you
Right.
gotta do.
You throw them a crumb that seems like what they want, but it's actually really what you want, and you package
Yeah.
it the right way. That's what this talented company does. That's the free to play model. This game's free. Doesn't get much better than that, right? And then you get all these people
Yeah,
that buy
free
into it
free Banjo Kazooie.
for Evangel Kazooie.
But
Gotta
hey,
gotta pay for
if you want to
clothes.
learn if you want to learn the Talon Trot, give us $10.
Yeah,
Sorry, can't
yeah.
progress. Be like Spiral Mountain.
You ain't got no money. You ain't leaving.
Yeah, it's a disaster, and like and we're gonna talk about Nintendo later, obviously in the Switch 2 segment, but um, I I don't think any of the companies are in a particularly good spot. Like maybe not like in a financial sense, but just in in terms of like favorability right now. I think they all have some pretty big issues this generation, but Xbox might be the biggest right now in terms of like this very moment.
This moment,
Which is
yeah.
weird because I've played the most on Xbox this generation, but like now I'm questioning everything. I'm questioning my existence.
Well, I've played most on Xbox probably, but most of it has actually been on my PC, not on my Series S.
Yeah. Yeah, see, you're part of the
That's
problem.
just part of the problem.
Spencer, part of the problem.
Yeah. All right, you ready?
All right. Yeah.
All right. It's Metal Gear Solid 2. Boy, is this going to be a rough one. I got a lot to say.
Me too. And I'm wondering where we're gonna land.
Oh boy. Did you play it recently?
I played a little bit, but I want to remind everybody at home because you don't know, like me and Spencer and we are talking back and forth. This is my favorite Metal Gear Solid game. Uh, um, so I don't really need to play like replay it, but I did dabble in that PS3 collection a little bit
Okay.
um, to get back up.
Okay, yeah. To establish that this is your favorite game, and this was, I think, in the running for my least favorite of the Metal Gear Solid games, and now it is definitely my least favorite.
Oh
So stick around if you want to hear
no!
very different
How can it
opinions
be
on this game.
under four?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, let's talk. Let's
Ow.
talk about what's your how did you what's your experience with this game?
Metal Gear Solid 2 was a game that I got from a friend who was he was the guy that like really introduced me to Metal Gear Solid. Um I I experienced and played the first game with him. But the second one I think he got a copy of Substance, right? And then he just gave me his original copy of Sons of Liberty. He was like, "Here you go." And I was like, "Oh, this is fucking cool." So I took it home and I just remember like playing this game nonstop, and just being like really enamored by the little details that are in this game, the stuff that they included, and also just like which we're gonna talk about, but just like the game itself and like the concept of what it is. I thought was such an interesting concept for a sequel that I don't think would ever work or could ever work again, honestly. Um, and yeah, I know from like a technical level, like obviously like three is probably it's on the same system. He's better. But I also really loved this game's art design. Like I personally think this game has a better art design than three,
Mm.
because like I love the location of the big shell. I love like how clean and futuristic this game looks. So it has like some of the minus one of them, but some of the coolest like boss encounters and some of the weirdest like story inclusions. And again, I'll talk about later. But um, yeah, I don't know. I thought this game was really impressive, and like even at the time, I didn't play it in 2000, like in 2001. Obviously, uh, like knowing that this game came out in 2001 is also super impressive because this game's fucking beautiful.
Hmm.
Like in terms of like PS2, like this game looks like either late generation or again, it could be early PS3 in some cases. But it's a gorgeous game. Um, so I don't know. Where do you want to start with this?
Well, let me just say that while I said it's my least favorite, I love the series, so I still like it. Um, and all that you said was true. Everything you said was correct. I don't think it's better than three in a graphical sense, but I do get what you mean. It is a
Really?
very like clean looking game, and
Oh,
I like the textures. I think they've always done really way ahead of their time textures. No matter which game you look at, they're very good at that.
that'd be an interesting comparison because I always felt like I love three, but I always felt like the weakest part of three was the art design because like the environments are all natural, and I feel like they couldn't do that as well, and they just kind of look kind of muddy at times. But
Looks
I feel
muddy.
like every part of two looks like purposely like flat and sterile and has like a lot of vivid colors and stuff, and I always really liked that. I always thought it had a really cool design for this one.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, so what about I guess let's do the gameplay. Like it's just a tradition. I mean, not traditional. I mean, it is, but it's Metal Gear Solid, and then with a lot of cool like upgrades.
Yeah, so you could tell on the gameplay front, they basically, which again, we'll talk about the story later, but there's a lot of things we want to talk about, like my interpretation of like what Kojima wanted to do. But obviously on the gameplay front, it seemed like he wanted to like take the pre-established formula from the previous game and just expand upon it. But also, it to me, this game feels like it wants you to play with more of a non-lethal like force, right? Because like the first game, like you could play Metal Gear Solid 1 and play it as like a shooting game almost,
Hmm.
if you really wanted to. But this game, it's almost like it'll almost punish you for it at times. Like
Oh,
the enemies are way more brutal whenever you do get found out. They come in with like riot shields and shit. Like they're pretty tough. And like they have a really cool system in this game that I thought was sick. That the whenever you get found out, like in the first game, whenever you get found out, it's like the all the enemies are just like it's like they have like a hive mind. They all just know where you are, stuff. But in this game, it's like when you get found out, there's a guy that has like the guy that finds you has to call on the radio to tell everybody else, and you have like a moment where you could like intercept that, and you can shoot his radio, or you can like kill him or something, whatever it is. Or it's like you get caught, but you have a second to like kind of correct it, which
yeah.
I thought was kind of a neat touch. Where it's not as it doesn't feel as punishing,
Hmm.
but it's like that part isn't as punishing. But whenever you do get actually like found out and they're all comes, that's more punishing than the first game. So it's like a risk versus reward.
Yeah, there's a lot of options here. There's a lot of opportunities. There's like you can jump over railings and scale it just with your arms. That's like a whole different level of play for the series because you can go low now as opposed to like sneaking side by side.
I mean the first person shooting
Yep.
is new. The enemies have context sensitive points on their body. If you shoot an enemy in their like head or torso or something with it, they'll fall asleep faster than if you shoot them in their arm. Like
Yeah.
like it's little details like that. I'm like, wow, that's cool.
I I think I would argue, and I'll counter it immediately after saying it, but I might argue that the tranquilizer gun is a crutch to stealth gameplay, because it's like I
Yeah.
need to sneak around this guy or I'll just make him go to sleep. They have a couple mechanics that address that, where if another guard finds them, then that becomes a thing and they go on alert. And also, I'm I love the idea of just putting a whole room to sleep. I think that's fun. So whether it's a crutch or not, I really enjoy doing it. So that's,
Well,
yeah.
also bodies don't disappear in this game
Mm-hmm.
either, so you got to be mindful of like where you leave bodies, and sometimes you have to hide them,
Yeah.
which is cool. So it makes you also play on that front too.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, gameplay wise, I mean, it's just I think it's great. Overall, I think it's just a
Yeah.
pretty major improvement over the first game. I don't know if there's anything that it does worse than the first game, or
Nope. It does everything better.
I really think it might. Yeah, it wins on that front for
Yeah.
sure.
Elephant in the room.
It gets there's an elephant in the room, and his name's Kojima. Dude, there's such a surreal moment whenever I was playing a little bit of this game on PS5 because I got up to the point where we're both thinking about um, to where I was thinking about the fact that like Kojima doesn't really do like okay, he does sequels obviously Metal Gear Solid has sequels, right? But there's never really been a Metal Gear Solid sequel outside of this one that is just a Metal Gear Solid sequel. Usually, like, okay, this one's a prequel, this one's an open world game, this one's like in the future. It's like they never really had like, okay, this is a just a fucking sequel, you know. And I was thinking about that because like he just did Death Stranding 2, and as good as that game looks, it also looks like Death Stranding 2, you know, like the sequel to Death Stranding. And I
Yeah.
was thinking, like, yeah, he doesn't really do that. Like, that's not really a thing he does. And I think this game is like, in some sense, it acts as like a commentary on sequels. Like
Oh,
Konami's like,
yeah.
yeah. Where like Konami's like, Kojima, you gotta make a Metal Gear Solid sequel, and he's like, I will, but you're not gonna like it. Like that's sort
Yeah.
of like, and I think it's interesting, and I think that's might be part of what I'm drawn to is like that weird commentary of like the sequel. It is a sequel in every sense of the word.
That's true. I guess there's a couple elephants in the room. The first I was going to point out was that we're playing as Raiden. We're not playing as Solid
Yeah.
Snake.
Well, you did get to do the tanker part as Snake, which
Yeah. That's
is
just a
it's
punch in the
longer than I
face.
remembered. It is longer than I remember. It's not the portion. It's not the main portion of the game. It does go on for a bit longer than I remembered it
But
going.
that's
When I was playing
purposefully a slap in the face that you're
Yeah,
playing as Snake, because
yeah,
they that ends, and then you immediately take control of a new guy who you notice is quite different, and he takes his mask off and it's a completely different character, and he's kind of like a girly guy. He's kind of
yeah.
gay.
Come on, stop.
I don't like Raiden. I really don't like him. But I see him as more of like an anime type character, and I don't like
Mm.
anime. Um,
I I think what they were trying to go with Raiden, and I don't have any direct quotes on this, so don't quote me. This is like saying like this is fact or anything, but um, I think what they were trying to do with Raiden is sort of like what they tried to recreate some of the like the emotions you felt as Snake in the first game, where you're kind of thrusted into this crazy scenario. But like obviously, if you just thrust Snake into a crazy scenario, he's Snake,
mm-hmm.
and he's gonna be like, yeah, this is like that time I fought that tank or whatever. It's just it's so I think that was part of the idea. Like, okay, we want a new experience, we need a new character, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, and also, I think an interesting element of that is like you're sent into Big Shell, right, to rescue the president and take down Dead Cell, and you're told that the leader is Solid Snake. which you as the player know is a lie,
Hmm.
but that's the narrative. So it's like an interesting setup to
Yeah.
where, but you as the player, you're like unsure, the first time around. So,
Yeah. There are good ideas throughout. I don't know if I like the villains that much, specifically Vamp. I just don't really
aw.
like him. He just seems like uninterested in being in the game entirely. The Fat Man I'm fine with, and the what's her name,
Fortune.
Fortune. That's a cool idea. I'm
Yeah.
kind of down with that. But Vamp, it's like, oh, he's a vampire, and he just doesn't seem to want to be there.
The Vamp, I think, was Vamp's. I like Vamp from like a absurdist point of view because it's just like yeah, like hey, what if we just made a vampire guy
Hmm.
and he had to fight him? And it's like, and they totally ran with that. I love the fact that like you could tell whenever these games are being created that like it was almost like the way that like Nora writes his stories, where it's like you could tell Kojima wasn't thinking about like an end game. He was just like, it'd be cool if there was a vampire, right? And then I love the fact that in like four, like he had to be like, well, now I have to explain why he's a vampire or whatever. It's like they had to explain all these stupid elements, and he was like, "Wouldn't it be cool?" And then it was like, "Oh yeah, that didn't make any sense. Fuck. Hold on." You have to go back and like rewrite
Yeah.
that. It's very funny. Um, but there are elements that I do like. I do actually like some of the boss fights. Fat Man's all right. I like Fortune a lot, mainly because her boss fight is like it's so cool, and it's not a boss fight. Her because her thing is that she can't be hit by anything, and
Hmm.
basically you're just supposed to dodge. First time you play, you're so like this is almost like game design fucking with you, the player, where you're so used to like playing a video game and hurting an enemy,
Yeah.
and like what game has a boss that you can't actively hurt? Like they that like that's not a thing. That's not a boss. Like I kind of like that, like turning things on their head.
Yeah, I was cool with that.
Vamp.
I was
Vamp's
not
a meme.
I was not really cool with the second boss encounter with her,
Well,
where Snake goes, "I'll take her," and then you leave, and then that's it.
well, it's just to remind you that Snake's the cool guy.
Well, he loses.
Yeah.
I don't know that
But still,
that just honestly from that point for, and I guess this gets to the other elephant in the room is this is entirely a like a not a training but like a testing device
yeah.
to test, which we can get into why that is, and that'll take us forever. But um, from that point on, it reminded me of like a PS1 JRPG that has two discs. Because there's
Mm.
a lot of those games like Chrono Cross and Xenogears immediately come to mind. Famously, they ran out of time. Both those games, it's like known that they ran out of time, and the second disc is a lot of talking and not a lot of action, and it is like it's just a lot of it's a dump essentially, especially Xenogears, but Chrono Cross is guilty of this too. Is where you're playing the game and then it's like switch to disc two and then you put that in and it's just like a PowerPoint, but in this case it's a moving PowerPoint where they're just explaining to you all these things that they didn't really have time to get to in the game. And I will tell you that in this game, basically at the part where Snake decides to fight Fortune, this game takes a hard turn.
Yeah, it's like around Arsenal gear, right? Where it's like ooh, skirt.
Yeah, as soon as you're naked, basically from that point forward, this is a completely different game.
And I think that was the commentary. It was like, I think it was like a lot of people were like, "We want Metal Gear Solid 2," and like Konami was like, "You got to make Metal Gear Solid 2," and he was like, Okay, so he quite literally made a game that mirrors like everything in Metal Gear Solid 1, like almost to a T. Like
Hmm.
you have a group of mercenaries, you have them like taking over a facility, you have a fight with a flying vehicle, you have like a fake out with Ocelot where like you meet a cyber ninja that tells you to watch out for mines. Like there's so many things in this game that directly reflect the first game, where it almost felt like Kojima was like, haha, you're just playing the first game again. We just
Yeah,
made the
just
first
just
game
like you
again, you
wanted, right?
bitch. Yeah. Where it's like, haha, you wanted Metal Gear Solid 2? Well, it's just Metal Gear Solid 1 again. It's where like it kind of it like lures you into a some like a sense of like security, like false comfort, where you're like, oh yeah, I know this, and then like it just rips it all away right at the end, where it's like, nah, bitch. And I
So
think that's why I like it.
so here's my problem with that is, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I do respect Hideo Kojima quite a bit. Um, a talented storyteller knows that you should show, not tell.
Yeah.
If those are all true, and it's very clever that if you think about it, you are just kind of recreating the events of the first one. You could kind of leave it at that. You could kind of just like be like, okay, he's like, this is all a training mission or a testing mission, and Revolver Ocelot says a couple things, and now the player is starting to think about it, and they're like, oh my god, how interesting, yada yada yada. This game spends about 3 hours telling you all of that over and over and over again. And it goes into a lot more than that. And it goes into a lot of like really like almost, I want to say, bro philosophy about like, it reminds me of like when the Matrix came out, and then like all the like
Yeah.
dudes are like, whoa, what is reality though, bro? It does a lot of that, and that might just be a reflection of the time that this was released. But it is, I will tell you that the end of this game is painful to sit through.
And let's talk about the main villain, Solidus
Horrible.
Snake. Let's talk about how stupid Solidus Snake is. You're
Horrible.
telling me Kojima, like, again, I think this is literally Kojima being like, fuck you, where it's like he's like,
Yeah.
it's the other one. It's the other brother that nobody knew about. The other Snake brother that nobody knew about. And it's like, okay, that's possible, I guess. And it's like, well, actually, this one was president before. I'm like, wait. You're telling me this fucking guy was president?
Mhm.
And like, no, like Campbell, Snake, fucking like Otacon, nobody looked at this guy and said, you know what? He looks kind of like Snake. Like nobody's ever put two and two together before. You're just
Yeah.
like telling me this guy just existed. You know what? Like no, it's just like nah, here he is.
Yeah.
And, yeah, he's of like the main villains of the whole series. Solidus is the worst one.
Yeah. By the time you get to the end where you're fighting him on the Capitol building, I was looking at him like, I really don't care. Like you've had like two scenes, and they've all been completely forgettable. Like you're clearly not as important as Revolver Ocelot. So
Yeah.
what are we doing here?
Which, by the way, they made Ocelot a fucking badass in this game.
Oh yeah,
I love
yeah, he's
Ocelot in this
cool.
game.
I love he's Ocelot
And
is probably one of my favorite video game characters of all time.
well, I forgot that like Ocelot didn't do a whole lot in the first game. You fought him, then he got his hand cut off, and then like he's not really
I
that
think I think he
important.
does a lot, but it's all like behind the scenes, which I like.
Yeah,
Like he's
but like
constantly referred to, and it's like he did this to make these events happen. You didn't see it, which is something that this game could take a note of. You don't have to tell me everything. You could just kind of, we could make our assumptions about things. But yeah, no, I love Revolver Ocelot. I think he's a great character.
well, and yeah, but like whenever you think of Ocelot, I think now you think of like the sick like action, like twirling the guns, shooting like 16 guys in the head or something,
Yeah.
And yeah, that's strictly because of this game and because of three. And it's like I
And
forgot that like
four.
that wasn't really a. And well, and God damn it, the finger guns, the finger gun helicopters. We'll get there. We'll get there at some point.
Maybe.
God damn.
Mm.
God damn. That's not gonna be like a segment of a podcast. That's gonna be a whole fucking podcast. That's gonna be a mental break.
Yeah.
um, I do like Otacon in his involvement in this game. I like
Yes.
Otacon as a character, and Otacon's great. Even though, man, fucking, what is Kojima's problem? Why does he have a boner for Otacon being sad? Because like there's Otacon's got the worst end of it. You spend like 3 fucking hours helping his sister just for her to fucking die.
Great scene though. Great
Great
stuff.
scene, but it's like, oh man, it's like, what is his deal? What does he hate Otacon so much?
Yeah. So yeah, so I mean, essentially to wrap this one up, Metal Gear Solid 2, and personally, I like the idea of it. It reminds me of Chrono Cross in a lot of ways. Um, I love parts of it. It's the execution I feel is lacking, which is quite surprising to me considering Kojima is such like a. You can tell he knows what he's doing. He's very smart. I get what he was doing. I just think he missed the mark on this game. His execution was weird.
I love the concept and the setting enough that I think it carries it for me.
Mm.
Um, I don't the plot stuff at the end doesn't bother me that much because I don't really care about the Metal Gear like continuity that much. It's all stupid in the end anyway. It's usually
I
so I
I
usually don't.
don't I don't care about that part. I care about having to sit through it. I would
And it's,
challenge you to sit
yeah,
through it
yeah, it
today.
is. It is a lot, but I mean, hey, you said again. You're saying you put this below 4. You sit through a whole hell of a lot more in 4
Yeah, but
than this
the
game.
cutscenes kind of mean something. And this one,
Yeah,
the last cutscenes don't mean anything. Like, and they
that's
remind you
true.
of that
But
constantly.
you do get a pretty badass like boss fight and with some swords. I like that. Also,
It's okay.
also a section nobody talks about, but the section where you're fending off the Metal Gear rays. What difficulty did you play?
Normal,
Okay, so you only had to do like 6 or something, like 6 or 7 of them.
something like
The
that.
rays. It scales with difficulty. So if you play in like the harder difficulties, you have to fight like 20 something of those fuckers. And I don't know. I thought that was cool. I thought it was a cool segment. It's hard, but it's neat. It's really, yeah. So like, it doesn't scale in difficulty; it just scales a number and like number of rays you have to fight.
Okay.
Kind of fun. Um,
Shoot him in the
yeah,
leg and then shoot him in the mouth.
it's kind of to wrap. This game is a game that would never fly today because of how connected and online we are. The fact that they were able to keep 80% of this game a secret for so long and then release it to the public without anybody knowing what the. What's your camera keep doing at this
I
time?
don't know. I don't know what's going on with this stupid thing.
The fact that they were able to create a game and then like hide 80% of it from the public for so long and then release it and nobody knew about the bait and switch and everything, I think is so cool. And also it's like, granted you can't if you listen to this podcast, but like I would urge like if you know anybody that like wants to play Metal Gear, I would urge to like make them go in blind on this one because I think
Oh yeah.
that's the best experience for 2 is to go in blind. And yeah, it's like technically there's sequels to Metal Gear Solid, but there's not really a sequel to Metal Gear Solid. And like Kojima never really did sequels, I guess till now. I guess till on the beach because that just looks like Norman Reedus again walking around. But
I'm
it's
sure
like
he'd put some
this is
twist in it.
this was yeah. I'm sure there is something. I'm sure maybe you grow a third foot and you can walk better or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's like this is would a third foot actually help you walk better? I don't know. Uh, I guess it depends on where it is. but yeah, this is the only time that he's ever actually directly followed up a game with the way that people asked him to, and it's like it's kind of cynical in nature
Oh
because
yeah.
of that. And I think I appreciate that. Like I like when games do that. Whenever a developer says like, "Hey, I'm gonna do it, but I'm not gonna do it the way you want me to do it." So yeah.
All right, the Nintendo Switch 2. You got one?
Yeah. Oh wait. I mean, no.
Yeah, me neither. There's a lot of
Yeah.
YouTubers making a lot of, well, that was a thing when the Switch 2 came out, what, a couple weeks ago or whatever, a month ago, I don't remember.
Yeah, like a month ago or something. I don't remember.
But there like when they announced the Switch 2, and it came out shortly after, but right when they announced it, everyone was raging at Nintendo because it was too expensive. Mostly the price. I think that was mostly the criticism. Not just of the console, but the games as well. They're also getting quite the hike. And then upgrading your games also just oddly expensive.
Well,
And yeah,
yeah. Then there was like the game key card thing. That was they're selling the game key cards, which they've always been doing, by the way. This
right.
is just the first time they've called them something.
Yeah. So then it came out, and I'm pretty sure that 99% of those gamers that were complaining then bought one and showed videos of them buying it and showing them unpacking it.
Wow, it's great.
Just really,
Is that Mario in a car?
yeah. It's just interesting to see like all those YouTubers, and it's like just completely dishonest and just clickbaiting you, like blatantly.
Yeah, dude. During this whole thing, like I saw a bunch of the Nintendo-tubers, some of which I follow.
Yeah.
They were like, "It's ridiculous. I can't believe Nintendo." And then it was like, "Yeah, I guess you got to Switch too." It's like, "Guess you got to Switch too," and all the accessories, and
Yeah.
guess who's, and it's like, "Oh my God, have you played Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S on the Switch too? It's such an improvement over Puyo Puyo Tetris 2." And I'm like, "Shut up! you were just complaining about this thing."
Pathetic. Yeah. I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other on the Switch 2. I understand it's more expensive. I expected that because of inflation. The games are more expensive. That's a levy that just decided to break, and I understand it. It sucks, but it's going to happen to all consoles at this point. I think even Xbox has said that there's going to be more, and I don't know if PlayStation has announced a price hike, but I'm sure it's coming. So I don't have a strong opinion on that either way, but I found that interesting. I don't have one. I don't tend to get it. What's your take on all the hubbub?
Oh well, I'm not happy about the price of the console. I think that's the biggest turn away. The biggest talking point, obviously, but also like I think another talking point that people are just kind of like in terms of like the media outlet, like afraid to talk about is like the Switch 2 is fucking boring. Like this generation of Nintendo is fucking boring. Like it seems like they just sort of rested on their laurels, and they were just kind of like it was like whenever you think of like a new Nintendo console, there's always for good or worse. There's for better or worse, there's always something there. There's always like some new idea presented, and the most we're getting on the Switch 2 is what, a mouse. Like you can play them, you can use a mouse, I guess. It's like it's just more Switch. And it's like the games they're showing, yeah, it's like they look fine. Like Mario Kart World looks fine. The Donkey Kong game looks fine. Like there's a few others that look fine, but they don't look that different than just Switch games. They don't look like they're just like I'm like, wow, I have to. It's like, yeah, it's like I kind of already played a game like that on Switch. It's like, yeah, and it's like they're not offering me anything. I think that's the biggest thing is that, like there's not really a reason for me to get it outside of like just upgrading to the newest thing.
Yes, I took it. I took the announcement as they needed something like they needed something to compete with modern consoles, which is weird because they never really took that stance before. They are always in their own realm, and that's where I like Nintendo. Is them doing just completely their own thing, like you said, for better or for worse. I mean, there's certainly bad examples, but at least when you saw a Nintendo thing, you're like, oh, it's doing something completely different. Like my experience with that will not match what I'm getting elsewhere. But from what I gather with the Switch 2, the goal was just to make it competitive from a technology standpoint to Xbox and PS5. And it's like I don't really care about that.
Yeah. Well, and like the one when they were like they had that first showcase and they were showing off like third party games. I had war flashbacks to the Wii U at that point because it was the same thing where they were showing off third party games, just ports of old games. It
Mm-hmm.
was like hey guys, what if you could play Final Fantasy VII Remake and Cyberpunk and Hogwarts Legacy? And I'm like, guys, like, did you learn nothing from the Wii U? Because that's exactly what you did there. You were like, what if you could play Mass Effect 3 and Batman Arkham City and stuff? It was like, these are old games. Like your selling point for third party is like, look, you can port your old games again or something, or you
Yeah.
can and like what's even funnier to me is like they're the thing they were like they made a big deal about Final Fantasy VII remake coming to Switch 2, which again like there's already a sequel to that, Rebirth. You want to blow me away? I put Rebirth on that thing, but it's like remakes coming, and it's like I beat remake on my Steam Deck. Can already play it handheld, and I fucking did, And it's this, and like I think that's my biggest thing is that like they the stuff that they're like bringing over, it's like that's cool. You have a version of Cyberpunk that's like completely on a cartridge or whatever, but like I don't need that on a Nintendo. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
care. Like it's like all those games. It's like I don't care. I can play that 100 other ways. And it's the games I do want to play are probably the Nintendo games. You're not giving me anything. You're not offering me anything. You're like, look, it's Mario Kart, but you can drive around in like an empty open world. I'm like,
That looks
I don't want to do it.
curious. I'm curious to play that, but yeah, not.
I've
I mean,
seen.
yeah,
I watched like a live stream whenever the console launched, and the idea of an open world Mario Kart sounds cool at first. But then I realized that there's literally like there's no objectives. There's nothing to do. It's just a it's just a map.
oh, there's no racing.
Like I'm pretty sure you can like go around and find like costumes and stuff like for your characters. And so, but like yeah, like it felt like they were like they wanted to do like Breath of the Wild, but for Mario Kart, right?
Yeah,
But they forgot to include like the stuff to do, like the actual like game
it's like Midnight
portion.
Club.
Yeah, they forgot to like because like Breath of the Wild is a bunch of like exploring, but
Yeah.
it's like interspersed between like shrines and quests and stuff. You gotta actually like have a reason to do it. You can't just be like, here you go, it's a map. So yeah, I wasn't
Yeah.
sold on that. The actual like racing game part looks fine, but it's the ninth Mario Kart. I've played fucking 8 other Mario Karts. I'm pretty sure I get the gist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the one that I am interested in is the Donkey Kong one. Like I think it does look cool, but at the same time, doesn't that game just look like a fucking Switch game? Like, doesn't it
That's the
just look
ironic
like
part,
something?
and that's the stupid part about it is that why stress like these higher end graphics when you're just gonna make it look like a cartoon anyway? That's how all your games look.
Yeah,
Like
it's just like
why?
I'm like looking at it and I'm like, this looks just like Mario Odyssey.
Yeah,
I played that game.
yeah. I don't understand. I mean, obviously Metroid Prime is gonna look better, but
But that's
even
that's
then,
coming to Switch.
is it still coming to Switch? I assumed it was just they were.
That's going to be a dual launch. The only upside of the Switch 2 version is that you get mouse control, which means nothing.
I'd be curious to play it on a mouse. I'd rather play it because I'm a PC guy. I'd rather play
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, but like, but Spencer, you're playing it on a Joy-Con mouse, which means you're playing it on a Joy-Con sideways. How much you think about that?
I heard it's pretty good. I can't. what I heard was you're supposed to get like the accessory that, which I'm sure is very expensive, that straps the back so they're a little thicker, and then it works better as a
The
mouse.
mouse foot. It's called the mouse foot, and
Mm.
I only know that because I watched a complete playthrough. The best Switch 2 launch title, Welcome Tour. The $10
$10.
software, the $10 software that teaches you about your Switch 2, which I think is like the most tone deaf
Yeah.
Nintendo product ever. It's like, hey, pay us to teach you about your console. It's like, what? That should just be
Terrible.
a thing. Um, yeah, there were some other announcements alongside it. Like, obviously, a big one that I think people have been asking for like 5 years or whatever is the GameCube service. It launched with like Wind Waker, F-Zero, and Soul Calibur. I feel like it's a little too late for that. I feel like it's like if that was announced in like 2020, for the Switch or something, it would have been like a huge deal. Like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, we can play GameCube. Like on the Switch too, it's like, all right.
Who cares? Big what? Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. What's gonna make you get one?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what they could do, but like if they're just gonna which they are, if they're just gonna be like, here's another Animal Crossing, here's another Pikmin, here's another whatever. Kirby. I'm gonna be like, yeah, it sure is. Like, it feels like they're just we're still riding the Switch's success. Which, mind you, when the Switch launched, it was successful because it launched partially because it launched like one of the most innovative games in years. Right? It was Breath of the Wild, big game.
Yep.
It's like the only game that it launched with outside of fucking Bomberman or whatever. It's like 1-2 Switch, but like the only notable game was fucking Breath of the Wild. So it's like, there's something to be said there that like you launched it with one notable game that was so big that like it sort of reshaped the industry in some senses. But they haven't given me that. So I guess that's what they would have to do. They would have to be like they had to blow me away with something. They had to be like, here's I don't know. I don't know if the Zelda would do it, but here's something.
Well,
I can't even
they're
think of.
not going to because they just like upgraded tiers, right? They're just
Yeah,
gonna let you pay for that and just.
yeah. I mean, and like, I as much as I want to sit here and like make fun of the Nintendo tubers and stuff, like I don't think I'm that like baited to Nintendo as a whole. Like I think I have a pretty healthy relationship with all three of the current like the current manufacturers where like I can step away from them at any time.
Yeah.
But I think like there is going to be that moment where like if they are like here's Pikmin 5, I think that's that probably be like, well, gotta play it.
Well,
Like that's gonna
it'll be like, well, there's enough games there now. They didn't win me
yeah.
before, but with this, that gives me a reason to get it, and then therefore get
Is there
other
something
games
that's gonna
that
push
do
you
better.
over?
Not likely. They don't really make games that I like. I like RPGs,
Pokemon?
big RPGs. Yeah. Oh boy, do I love Pokemon. Um, Maybe a Zelda
Po-
that's big.
Pokemon cake and ice cream? I don't know. I'm trying to
Can't
think
be
of
like the
like
last
what's next one that
Zelda.
could be cool.
Yeah, no, it can't be
Oh,
Pokemon.
Tears. Oh, dude, I want to talk about Tears of the Kingdom at some point because what a fucking. I only played that recently, but what a fucking thing that was. Game that was.
It's a good game, and I don't
That's
like it.
dude. Tears of the Kingdom is the Switch 2, where it's like they were just like, do it again, boys, and then they did it again, and
No, I
I was like,
disagree. I completely disagree.
really?
I think it was do it again, but give them something different. And their different was geared towards an audience
Like
that I
reading.
understand, but one that I don't care about. And it it just tanks it for me. Like I just have no
Yeah.
interest in building. I just none. I just die
Isn't it
inside.
crazy though that like I don't know if like what's going on with that, like I don't know what you called that series of Zelda games, I guess the Breath of the Wild series or whatever.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy that like they're doing another one of those Hyrule Warrior games for Switch 2? They announced it like at the big direct. And it's tying into Tears of the Kingdom, and I've heard nobody talk about that. Like, isn't that weird? Like they're doing another game to tie into a big Zelda game, and like nobody's like even talking about it. They're just like, oh, sure,
I think everybody just knows that those aren't really like Nintendo games.
yeah, sure. They're just Warriors games.
Yeah.
I mean, and I like them.
Yeah. I
Except for
prefer
the
those
story
to,
in the
to
last
Nintendo games for the most part.
Tears of the Kingdom. Or you know what?
Breath of the Wild
I
is
like
great.
the Age of Calamity. I like the Age of Calamity. The story was stupid, but I liked it for the most part. But yeah, I just know whatever this one. I don't even know what this was called. I forgot. But whatever it's called, Tears of the Sword or whatever. I'm sure it's just going to be another Warriors game
Yep.
with the Zelda guys in it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything that could push it over the edge for me. Um, it's just like I can't like. I mean, okay. What about this? I got one. I got a pitch for you, Spencer.
Okay.
Mm, it's gonna. It could go two different ways, but I'm gonna pitch it both ways. Either Mother 4 or like an Earthbound remake. But would either of those do it for you?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'd have to see it. I don't. That series is dead. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I was trying to think of, like what they could revive, like what they could even do, because that was like the Switch's thing, right? I think like the Switch felt like the time of revivals for Nintendo.
They could make Fire
Or
Emblem
like
not be
remember
a anime touch children kind of game, and I would enjoy
yeah,
it.
this time instead of high school, you're actually teaching at a middle school,
Oh yeah, I like them young.
so they're actually like 13 or 12, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I don't.
Well,
Jesus.
you have to teach them how to battle, Spencer. You have to teach them how to battle. Come on. You have to
What a
take 'em through battle,
disgusting
man.
series. Like Nintendo. What are you doing? Like, what is this? Why do that? I don't understand. That one I'll never understand.
What about Star Fox? You think they could do something with Star Fox?
They could. They won't, but they could.
Yeah. If they do, they will do it right. They've proven that time and time again.
Hmm.
That's just fucking
Yeah, I mean they have the
hilarious.
two Joy Cons. You could maneuver it with one and aim with the
I'm
other.
sure that it'd be a mouse game or something. It'd be something stupid.
I'm cool with that too,
It'd be
but
like
they could do something, but they won't.
barrel roll. You have to flick the mouse or something, or spin the mouse a circle. You're in the cockpit with Fox, and you're you're controlling the flight controls.
You're sitting on Fox's lap. His penis
Yours.
is noticeable. You ask him what's going on with that. You said, "Is that a banana? Are you happy to see me?" He says, "Shoot
Like,
Andros."
and like, I just don't know if I'm this. I just don't think I'm like. I don't have it in me for another hype cycle. You know what I mean? I don't have it in me to be like Smash, Animal Crossing, like I don't have that in me anymore. Nintendo, you sucked it all out. It's gone. Like if you come out tomorrow and say, "Look, we're doing another Smash Bros," I'm gonna go yippee.
I
Like
barely played the newest one.
it's too it's good, but it's just it's too played out at this point. You know, like there's
Yeah.
nothing there for me.
All right. Well, that's it for Switch 2. And that's it for the podcast.
And in conclusion, if you go to www.steamdeck.com, you can buy a Steam Deck from Valve and get a cheaper console with more value.
That's true. I agree with that. Better sales.
All those third party games that Nintendo boasted about being on the Switch too, you can buy them and they're not going to cost nearly as much.
You
Final Fantasy
can
7
upgrade
remake,
the
I
memory
bet you it's like
quite easier,
yeah,
quite more affordably.
7 remake. I bet you it's on sale for like $15.
Yep.
Uh, there you go. That's my suggestion.
Thanks for watching the podcast.
Or listening,
No, you
or
watched.
but they might have listened. No, I've been posting these to the which if my computer isn't fixed, I can't this one until I get it fixed. But I've been posting these to the audio platform. So if you're listening, just know that I appreciate you and Spencer doesn't.
If you're listening, please find a way to contact us. I'd be fascinated to know if you were. Anyway,
You can
bye.
email Spencer's big honking email at hotmail.com.
At hotmail.mom.
At myhotmom.com. A porn site.
Bye.